times popping, and nope, doing okay with that. All right, that sounds good. This is to be in Napa. So many things going on. The Jazz Festival, Porch Fest, this was crush a mess. So I so appreciate everybody spending your Sunday morning with us today, whether online or here in person. It's a beautiful community that we are evolving right here. And we'd like to begin our evolution with a little music this morning. So let's welcome Astra Fox.
Thank you. Good morning. Won't you join me in song? Here we go. I am opening to the love of Spirit. I am opening to the love of God. I am opening to the love of Spirit. I am opening to the love of God. I let Spirit guide my day, living love in every way. I am opening to the joy of Spirit. I am opening to the joy of God. I am opening to the joy of Spirit. I am opening to the joy of God. I let Spirit guide my day, living joy in every
service today in joy and love and peace. Thank you so, so much. We like to begin our service with the vision and mission statement. So if you'll look up on the screen and read with me, we are an inclusive community for spiritual growth and compassionate action. And our mission statement, we are co-creating a world that works for everyone by living intentionally, loving unconditionally, and seeing God in all people and all faiths. A glorious affirmation for today. We're involved in Crush MS event yesterday at the Reed Family Vineyard, and I could just feel this mission in action through that event as well. That the community service that we do, we really had about 30 people of our community there volunteering in some way or another yesterday. And we're supporting that event, and it was a very successful event. So glad to have you a part of that. I didn't introduce myself. If you don't know me, either online or here, I'm Reverend Jay Lang. I'm the spiritual director and senior minister here. And it's so great to be part of this community and its evolution. It feels like I'm just part of something, not necessarily the leader of it. But it's great to be a part of all this. I did want to show you some pictures here. So thinking of our community and how it's continuing to evolve. This picture is from Unity, the Unity Church, which is our New Thought cousins that used to be in this building. And somebody sent me some pictures of when Unity was in the same exact building, and shows two different signs they had up with different ministers. I know one of them was Reverend Sonia Milton, who's a friend of mine. We went leadership together, and she continues to be a presence in the Valley. But just fun to see that, and then to go from that 30 years later to this, when our ribbon cutting ceremony of our new courtyard, an evolution that we had. We were actually in the marketplace. If you get the marketplace at home, we had a picture in there, something like this picture with the mayor there and one of our city council members and former board of supervisor, Brad. And so it was really fun to be a part of that. And then also we had a photographer there at that event. His name's Richard Burns, and he took some amazing pictures, and then he put them together in a framed way and presented it to us last week as a momentum. So I'm going to bring this out just to kind of show you a little bit, and I'll have it hanging on the wall in the future, but it was just a really nice momentum that he gave us as a gift, and really shows that event that we had about a month and a half ago now. So a celebration of our community and continuing evolution of it, which, when we do our personal work, we have a vision, we have a thought, we have an intention, we want to create a new experiences in our lives, and we ask for Spirit's help in doing that. And then there's a manifestation. So for us, the courtyard is a manifestation of the spiritual work we've been doing. And we know this community continues to evolve in so many ways. So we're so happy to celebrate that, and celebrating our new practitioners we have today. At the end of this service, we'll be taking a short break, like a 5-minute break. And those who want to stay, and we invite everybody to stay for the practitioner installation. We have 6 new practitioners that are going to be installed today officially, plus 2 of our practitioners that have been practitioners for over 20 years, Diana Browning and Janet Champion. And they're going to be recognized as emeritus status. But up on the stage up here, you'll see that there are 8 candles. And they represent each of the practitioners that completed the practitioner program. 2 of our practitioner students have chosen to wait till next year to get licensed. So Monica Smith-Braun and Nicole Turner will be being licensed next year. But the candle, and I'll talk more about this during the installation, but it says, "I am the heart and consciousness of a practitioner." And they burn these candles during their class. And and held that light that they were. And so what I know is, even for those two who didn't finish this year, they are the heart and the consciousness of a practitioner. So I put all 8 candles up here to represent that for them, and those will be given to them during the installation day. So I invite you to be a part of that installation, to witness and celebrate. And then after that installation, which will take just a little over 30 minutes probably, we'll have a reception, and with desserts and food and celebration, more of a reception for these new practitioners and our 2 emeritus practitioners. So that'll be great. So yesterday, as I mentioned, many of us were involved in Crush MS. I'm just kind of curious, out of the people that were here this morning, how many of you helped out with Crush MS yesterday? So you can look around and see there's probably another 15 that aren't here this morning that, a little bit trouble getting out of bed this morning from the long night, but it's so great. And I just have a few pictures of what was happening there. Just great celebration. The food was a big thing. It was just wonderful food that was presented. In the center picture, in the center, Julie Hare. She's one of the founders of Crush MS. And then Kevin's in another picture here, but these are more pictures of people that were there. There in the lower right-hand corner is Kevin, and he was the other founding member of that. So a fun day to celebrate a great cause that we had. So this is the picture of the new practitioners that we're installing today. And then on August 12th, I also want to let you know about a class we have called Let's Practice Wellbeing Together. And now this is an interesting class by Marla Tofu, who is a somatic counselor and coach and teacher. I don't mean counselor, coach and teacher. And because somatic is involved in the body and how we store memories in our body and can manifest things by using our body to create our intentions, there's a limit to the number of people that can be in this workshop to 15. We're already at 10. And I know some people have signed up without paying yet. So this is today's the deadline. If you want to be in the workshop, you need to pay, because we can't hold places for people that aren't paid because we're not sure you're going to be there. So we need paid people, because we need to make sure that all people, that we don't keep somebody from registering who wants to be in it. So, and I will also say that if you want to be in the class, sometimes I always say that, oh yeah, hurry and sign up, but this one's real. This one's real. So we're already at 10 people, and then we're only accepting 15 people for the registration. So if you're interested in that, there's a code out on the welcome table today, or a way to sign up for it online, but I would do it today. I would highly recommend that. And then also on August 13th, or every even month, if you want to keep track of when we're doing this, it's the even months. So August is an even month. The second Sunday is our green bag donation. And this is when we take our green bags. You might already have one. If you don't, you can get one today. Fill it up with non-perishable items and bring it back the week before or by the 13th. And that will, it will continue to fuel the food bank, that they have plenty of food to give to people who are in need, not just once, but many times. Janice, you have something to add?
I just wanted to mention that I'll be sending out the reminders, but they're really low on food right
Okay.
now. I mean, it's going out like crazy. Anyone who can contribute is wonderful, and greatly, just really appreciate those who contribute.
Thank you. And for those who are online, what Janice said is that the food bank is very low with food because of increased need lately. So that's why we're encouraging people to make sure you participate this August. Yes, Kathleen.
And a reminder, please don't bring any
No glass items, non-perishable items. Right. And, monetary donations are okay too if you don't have time to go to the store, but load up those bags. If you have to have a second bag, that's fine too. Just bring it all in. We'll we'll take it. Janice takes it all to the food bank on Monday. So thank you. So you have a couple weeks here. It's not till the 13th, but if you don't have a green bag, today's a great day to get your green bag, because it's easy when you go to the store while you're doing your shopping, just load up that green bag already. So we appreciate that. And then also in August, we have another one of our Unbottled Summer concert series, and we're really excited to have Gary Lynn Floyd come in. You might have heard him on a Sunday here. Just extraordinary music that he has. So we're so excited to have him here. And just like we did the last times, bring a picnic dinner, bring your favorite beverage. It's just a fun time to be outside and enjoy our courtyard. So I hope you're able to make it in August. And we're trying to get one towards September, but we don't have a date or an artist yet. We'll let you know about that. So, and please know that we are here for you in all ways, that it is the practitioner and my privilege to pray for you. If you fill out a prayer request, or fill out one online. And what you need to know is we have a lot more practitioners to pray for you now. So we also, our practitioners will be available at the end of this service. Today, it really won't be time for that, but normally on a Sunday when we don't have another event right after it, but you could perhaps just touch base with a practitioner real quickly in the transition or after the installation if you're hanging around for that. But it is our privilege to be able to pray for you. So please give us things to pray about. I'm sure everybody has some things to do that. So, and now we'll begin the sacred part of our service. We ask that after this song, that instead of clapping, I know we love Astra's music, but we just stay in the sacredness after this and stay as we move into prayer after that.
I send my love over the mountain. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens. And it returns to me. I send my peace over the mountain. I send my peace over the sea. I send my peace into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my love over the mountain. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me, and it returns to me, and it returns to me.
So we begin this time of prayer. Simply allow your gaze to drop if that feels comfortable. Allow yourself to breathe deeper than you would normally. And recognize an inner sense of peace that may be within you. A calmness, a centeredness. Just letting any other thoughts go at this moment. And remembering the words of the song you just heard. Imagine a person or situation that you hold some concern for, and to know love for them, to send love for them, send peace to that situation. And know that which you send is sourced in spirit itself. So there's no end to this love. It is eternal. We also know that any prayers you may have today for yourself or others are heard by the universe. And this abundance of love surrounds you, surrounds them, surrounds any situation. Right where you are, Spirit is. We know this service today is blessed, that we recognize divine in each and every person and in this service itself, in this room and in all places where people watch the service from. We know there is only one. And I'm just grateful for this truth, for this knowing, for Spirit itself in all our lives, for the evolution, the revelation of the good and the true in all our lives and for today. This I know to be true, and so it is.
The air I breathe is a gift. This light I see is a gift. This energy flows through you and me. It is a gift, and we are worthy. This heart that beats is a gift. This voice that speaks is a gift. This energy connecting you to me, it is a gift, and we are worthy. We are worthy of this light. We are worthy to shine bright in a life that's filled with soul. We are worthy of this love. We are worthy and enough for a life that's filled with soul. This dream we dream is a gift. This remembering is a gift. This melody repeats in you and me. It is a gift, and we are worthy. We are worthy of this light. We are worthy to shine bright in a life that's filled with soul. love. We are worthy and enough for a life that's filled with soul. This dream we dream is a gift. This remembering is a gift. This melody repeats in you and me. It is a gift, and we are worthy. This melody repeats in you and me. It is a gift, and we are worthy.
Thank you, Astra. Missed you. It's been probably like 6-7 weeks since you've been here. Has it been that long? A month? Okay. Seems longer. We're used to having you more often, I guess. So, boy, this week has been very fascinating. This topic that I've chosen. It's the last week of our monthly theme about speaking truth to power, and I don't think there's anything more powerful, anything more challenging of our beliefs is what we believe about our higher being, by whatever name you call it, God, Yahweh, creative intelligence, Allah, whatever you call it, it's all the same. We believe here that there's only one God, but what we believe about it can come from our childhood, from the stories we're told, and what our early spiritual teachers or ministers told us as well. And it's important for us to continue, just like all of our beliefs, to keep it updated and mindful of our beliefs. I do believe that sometimes when we're children, that God can seem like a monster who punishes as if we're bad. And so the topic today about, do we consider God to be, do we imagine God to be a monster, a myth, or a muse? For a lot of us, as we grow older, we discount some of the stories we've been told about God, that we find we want to find our own beliefs about God, about spirit. So we let go of all those beliefs, and for me and for a lot of people, we lose all faith in God for a while until we can rebuild our own faith in our own way, what we believe, what we experience as God. And so it becomes a myth. And as we evolve, God can be a muse as well. So what I know is that the variety of faith and experiences that all people have on this planet really depends on their beliefs, and there's such a variety of it. But I encourage us to look at our beliefs that may limit our view, our experience of spirit in any way. So I did hear a story about a woman who had devout faith in God, and she prayed out loud frequently. And during the summer months, particularly, she would have her windows open, and her neighbor, a man, was an atheist. And he would hear her pray, and he'd sort of laugh and roll his eyes. And finally, he'd heard enough, and he went over and talked to her, goes, there's no such thing as God, that he or it or whatever is not going to answer your prayers. You're just wasting your time. She goes, no, I believe that God will answer, and I believe he's a presence in my life. And he goes, well, whatever. I just don't think I think you're wasting your time. So one time her windows were open, and he heard her pray out loud that she was out of money and didn't have any money for food. And she was asking God to deliver money or abundance for food. And he heard that, and he goes, well, I'm going to teach her a lesson. So he went out and got all these groceries for her and put them on her porch, rang the doorbell, and went around the corner. And then she came out and she goes, "Glory, glory, God's provided for me." And then he came around the corner and goes, "Ha, caught you. Because I was the one that bought those groceries." She goes, "Oh, Lord, you're so grateful. You even made the devil pay for those groceries." So you can know that we have a lot of variety of experiences. And the experiences we have, sometimes we paint in the view we have of God. And that we know from New Thought, what we talk about is that our beliefs and our thoughts create our experiences. And what I love about Louise Hay, so I think a lot has evolved about our movement, because when we first started, there was a lot of guilt in New Thought about if you didn't create a life that you wanted, that somehow you weren't thinking right or your consciousness wasn't in the right place. And what we've evolved to realize that we don't control all our conditions. We are able to create our experiences and our response to the things we experience. And part of that switch to the softer side was Louise Hay. Now, she's known as a hard line New Thought person who talks about that we create our own health and well-being, because some of her early books were about that. But as she started hosting these what were called hay rides for, well, they were for people who had AIDS, primarily men, and teaching them how to love themselves, she recognized this thought didn't always create cures. She could see these men doing an amazing amount of healing, but it didn't always come to a cure. And so she softened her views about that and let go of this whole guilt-based belief system. And to me, she's one of the most important people that brought in and ushered in our way of modern New Thought that gives us opportunities not to feel guilt, to continue to seek to create this life of our choosing. And what we know is that when we are clear on our intentions, that there is always healing happening. And sometimes we don't get the, like for instance, I was open to the experience, but I did not win the lottery on Friday night. I don't know if anybody else. I know. I was telling God, I'll be a philanthropist. I'll give money to all sorts of causes, but it didn't happen. It didn't happen. So, I don't control all my conditions. But I know that within me, there's a power that I can connect with, that I can be from and experience this. And what Louise Hay said, she had her, so we believe there's a correlation between our beliefs and our experiences, but Louise Hay did a turn on that idea. And I want you to listen to what she said. We move through life creating our experiences that will match our beliefs. We move through life creating experiences that will match our belief. So in other words, if we have a certain belief, rather than changing our belief, it's a very maybe restrictive belief or one that doesn't serve us. Instead of changing that belief, think there's something wrong with that belief, we'll just our perspective of an experience might change to match our beliefs. And that's what we need to be careful about, because our beliefs can be very limiting. There's this thing called frequency illusion or frequency bias. And what that is, it's a scientific thing about if you, let's say you, like it happened to me when I was traveling recently. I was talking to my older son about Teslas, because he was out here in California. He'd never seen so many Teslas. He lives on the East Coast. And it's amazing how many Teslas. And there was probably maybe 1 out of 100, maybe 1 out of 500 cars that were Teslas. But we started talking about it. Suddenly, it seemed like every other car we were looking at was a Tesla. And that's the way our brain works, is because there is more information out there than we can process. It's all taken in, but what we process, if we have a certain intention, a certain way of thinking, we're going to see that. So we're talking about Teslas, we're going to see lots of Teslas. If we're talking about, if we believe in a fear-based God, we're going to experience a lot of things to be afraid of. If we're experiencing a limited belief about God, a constrictive, we're going to experience life like that. And even if life may or may not be like that, we're going to create or have perception of experiences to match that belief. And that is the danger of our beliefs that we hold on to tightly. That can, as a Buddhist would say, cause suffering in our world. The thing about it is, though, it's a tricky thing because we grow up with certain stories. I mean, even the fairy tales that we are told and the myths growing up that, let's say, like Little Red Riding Hood or Hansel and Gretel, right? Those are stories about if we wander away too far, we go into the woods, we could get in trouble. So they're tales that, I don't know if they're intentional or not, but they definitely bring fear into children to stay close to home and be obedient to their parents. And these kind of stories are in every culture. These are from the European culture, but I know in the Mexican culture, there's La Llorona, that is who chases kids back home if they've been bad or something, you know. And these myths are told, and there's in every continent, in every nation, every culture has these kind of stories. And it seems like the stories from the Bible are very similar in the Old Testament, that when people weren't obedient, there were floods and famines, and they were tested by the devil, or they were things happened to them because they weren't obedient, or they didn't sacrifice the right thing or the right amount. I mean, according to the Old Testament, God asked Abraham to sacrifice his own son and only stopped him right before he did it. What a crazy story that is. Maybe it's true. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like the God I know. Doesn't seem like God ever tests us. I know we have testing things in our lives, challenging things in our lives, but I don't think it's God that's reaching a hand down and saying you should try this. In fact, long ago, I let go of that image of God being up in the sky and being a he and be having any form at all. And I did go through the process, since I knew that wasn't right. I did, for a while, wasn't sure what I believed. But I was having experiences within me that said there was something more to life, some higher power, some sort of sense. And if you're in a place in your life right now where you're not sure, just allow that peace. Allow to sit in silence and allow a sense of something greater than you. You don't even have to have a name for it. Often we call it spirit here, but you can call Benny by name. A friend of mine used to call her higher power Bev because it stood for the beloved. It was a nickname she had for it. And we often use the neutral pronoun it instead of he or she, even though they, with the modern pronouns we're using now, they seems to work. In Genesis, the pronoun used for God was they. It was a plural pronoun, which nobody really explains what that is. But I think it's not a singular thing. It's a bigger thing than we can ever imagine. I love Richard Rohr. He's a Benedictine monk, a spiritual teacher. The way he talks about the Trinity, that has influenced the way I think about Trinity. I don't think exactly the way he does, but influenced it. He talks about, or the way I interpret it now at least, that there is 3 parts to spirit, that is all one. There's the indwelling spirit that's within us that comes into form. It's the body form that we experience within ourselves. There is also the greater spirit that's all around us, that is this awe-inspiring, that's seen that it's bigger than we can ever imagine. Many ancient religions wouldn't even have a name for God because there was no name that would really describe how amazing and immense this spirit is. And then there's the part that moves, that Christians call the Holy Spirit or the Holy Ghost, that moves. It is that this coming into form that comes into us as us. And this is what I would call the Muse. Because in ancient culture, the Muse was in, like, say, Greek and Roman and Egyptian philosophy. The Muse was a godlike mythological creature. But artists and writers and even scientists and explorers would invoke a muse to inspire them, to open them up. And to me, this is that third part of spirit that moves from all of this and moves into form into us. This is the traditional science of mind teaching symbol, as we call it. You'll see it up here above me and a sort of a Napa Valley version of it. But the idea in the upper area, it's all one, it's not separated, but it moves these divine ideas, this allness of all life, and it moves through our beliefs, through the spiritual law, and comes into form into our experiences. Well, that which is moving in, people can call it, allowing spirit to come through us. But for today's talk, I'm going to call this the Muse. The Muse that we allow, we evoke. What's interesting about this name, Muse, as I mentioned, it was used in the Greek and Roman and Egyptian times as an inspiration source. If you go back to that root word muse, it's also the root word for music, for amuse, and even for museum, because museum is supposed to be a place where you look at things that were inspirational, things that were spirit moving through, basically, that were inspired by a muse in that way. And so we continue to think of that as Muse, as being an inspiration of spirit moving in and through us, as being the very breath we breathe. In the Hindu culture, they talk about the prana, the breath we breathe, the spirit itself. It is the source of life. And so we just allow that to be and come through us in this way. And we allow this magnificence to come through by simply inviting it. So today, in thinking about that, the way that we bring this muse into our body, into form, is first of all just to invoke it, to invite it, to allow it to inspire and navigate our lives. So Homer, if you might have read it in high school or somewhere, the Odyssey, and Homer, the author, actively invokes the muse in the beginning of the Odyssey. And he has a line that says, "May the tale live for us in all its many bearings, O Muse." So he's inviting this muse to come through him as him and be this creative force. And today in spiritual worlds, you might call it channeling. But I think anybody who's done music or writing or any kind of art is aware of, you let go of your mind and allow something else to come through you. And then probably, Diana, you've done enough art. You probably recognize this. People who do writing and different kinds, as well as in our life, we allow a sense of spirit to help guide us, to navigate us. I often talk about our center being that we join another religions in being a theology of liberation, because it is Spirit through us that brings us freedom, that guides us towards freedom. But I would also say we're the theology of reception or revelation, that we invite an indwelling Spirit, that we are contemplative, similar to Quakers or Buddhists or Hindus, that we are receptive, that we open up to Spirit by being in the quiet, by allowing and inviting. Now, I know that when we invoke or invite, the Spirit's always there. So it's not like, oh, now Spirit's with me because I've invited it. But it's in our softer, more receptive way that we're open to the experience and we receive that which is already there. We become aware of it. We recognize it. The first step of our affirmative prayers is we recognize Spirit. We recognize it to be here with us. I often say that it's different here. Like you walk into this church and it looks like a normal church. If it quacks like a duck, it is a duck. Well, not necessarily. I think it's different here. And I think my experience of New Thought churches is you don't find the judgment and the dogma and the fear intentionally. That when we found, as I mentioned before, that there was some guilt coming through our teachings, we said, we looked at it deeper, because that was not our intention. That's not the nature of Spirit. That was a human creation to create something where people felt guilty or guilt was laid upon them. That's not the way of Spirit. That's the way of a human. And what you will find here is love, empowerment, connection, inclusion. What's interesting about this idea about a muse is, so the sailors of old times, they're literally dependent on their sails to find places. And sometimes they found places that they didn't even mean to find. So, but they would invite a muse to help navigate. But also, and in the story, Homer's Odyssey, as well as other just myths, they would talk about a siren. And a siren was like some sort of half bird, half human, or half fish, half human, that would be a distraction, that would lure us off the path. And many myths blame sirens for a shipwreck that took it off course and wrecked it. But I think we as humans are always looking for things that we find fault for what has been done, because we don't want to take responsibility for ourselves. If you're of a certain age, you probably remember the comedian Flip Wilson. I mean, that's a long time ago, right? But he said, what did his line say? The devil made me do it, right? Devil made me do it. And in more common comedy, Dana Garvey from Saturday Night Live, the church lady.
And who could it have been? Let's see, I don't know. Let me think. Let me knock on Mr. Noggin. Who could trick us into doing that? Could have been Satan.
So, the Bible, especially Old Testament, is made of stories from the ancient Jews, the stories they would tell over and over again. If you think about the way the Jews celebrate their sacred days, they retell these stories. That's an important part of what they do. So the stories they told, and this is 5,000 years ago or more, the word Satan just meant an adversary, somebody who was opposed to what they were doing. It wasn't an entity. It wasn't a separate energy of any kind. It was just an adversary. So when Jesus was talking to Peter, Peter was trying to take him off course of what his purpose was, to tell him he didn't need to go to Jerusalem and put his own life in peril, that wasn't going to happen to him. He wouldn't die. He would live forever, because Peter didn't want to deal with thinking about his spiritual teacher's death. Jesus said, "Get away from me, Satan. You are a dangerous trap to me. You are seeing things merely from a human point of view, not from God's. Get away, get behind me, Satan. And he wasn't talking about that Peter was a devil or any kind of entity. He just said, he was telling Peter that you are distracting me from what is my higher purpose. So we can do that in our lives. I don't believe in an outer devil. I don't believe in any kind of energy that is dark that we don't have, that spirit is not more powerful. Spirit through us is more powerful than. But there are certain things in our lives that are distractions that take us off purpose. Next month, I'm going to spend the whole month talking about purpose and passion and re-navigating that. So we'll talk more about that. But get away from me, Satan. You don't call somebody Satan, but they're a distraction. Just let them and focus on what you do want to create. I think what's true about the Bible is people focus on certain kinds of things, but there are some great stories in the Bible about it's really a testament, so a testimony of the evolution of faith. So at times people were very fear-based in their beliefs of God, but there are times Moses had a face-to-face relationship with Spirit, face-to-face. And Moses was told, guided by Spirit in the burning bush, to go talk to the Pharaoh to tell him to let my people go, right? And Moses said, I can't do that. I can't do that. No way I can do that. I stutter. I don't know what to say. And Spirit said, through me, I will move through you, and you will be able to speak what is important to speak. You will know the truth will be revealed. So Moses did that, and sure enough, and then he was able, through those crazy famines, that finally the Pharaoh let the Jews go, and they went across the Red Sea, and they did all these miraculous things, but then they got into the wilderness, and they were afraid to go to the land of milk and honey that Spirit had promised them. It was right there. They sent spies in to see it, and they were afraid to go there because it was of the unknown. They spent 40 years in the wilderness, a whole generation, before they were able to let go of this fear. Interesting. And guess what? Spirit didn't leave them. God didn't leave them. Oh, if you're not going to listen to me, I'll be back when you're going to listen to me. Spirit was still with them. So whatever decisions you make, Spirit is still present with you. It's not going anywhere. It's just ready when we are willing to open up to it in that way. So we are mindful of our beliefs. Oops. Okay, we saw you already. So we notice our limiting beliefs. The other day, there was a spider web outside, and I took down the spider web, and the next day, the spider web was back. So that reminded me of the way that we can clear out our lives and think we've cleared everything, but if the spider's still there, if our beliefs are still there, it might recreate certain things that we thought we had let go of. So sometimes it takes a persistence. It takes a continuing prayer to let go of certain things, to create certain things. But what we need to know, there's nothing against us. That there is choices we may make in our life that are unhealthy or life-denying, and we can always choose again. We can always re-invite Spirit to be that which is in us. We forgot to invite Spirit. We forgot to include Spirit. Or even if we thought we had, it didn't turn out exactly the way it is, so we can choose again to create that experience that we want of health, of wealth, of well-being, of a deeper connection, of a greater community around us. And what I know is that we can be amused in this way. So it sounds like it's not that it's amusing, but we become aware of this muse that is Spirit that is coming through us, in and through us. Now, what I know about the word muse, I've really had a lot of fun, because muse can mean so many different things, that something can be amusing and inspire us to remember how wonderful life is. Yesterday at Crush MS, I met some amazing people. Everybody was so excited to be there for this cause. And I met one man who was a scientist who said, I am inspired today. He participated in many ways. He said, I'll be back next year, but he goes, I'm inspired today. What my work I'm doing, I'm going to continue to do research on MS. We are going to find a cause. And it was his passion, that was ignited in there. And so many people became passionate about this, were loving about this, and this amusing. And then the other story I want to tell you today is about Obi. Obi is a therapy pig that Mentas is a local mental health organization. So sometimes Obi or somebody like that, our pets at home, our cats and our dogs can be amusing, but he's part of the assisted therapy and he's just adorable, right? And this is amusing. This is spirit in action. Obi is spirit in action that reminds us how beautiful life is, that is a little sense of joy and a little sense of peace. You can watch the whole thing. I know, I cut it off. Very cute. He comes to his name like a pet does and kind of plays games. So that's kind of fun. So the whole thing. And Mentas, by the way, is a wonderful mental health organization here in Napa. And they just purchased a new property. They purchased the old Blue Oak school over there on, I don't know what street that is, but up north a little bit. And they're going to, I just can't wait to see all the mental health services they can provide with that kind of property. So exciting about that. So we're excited to be a part of this, and Obi will be a part of that too. And we can be a part of this. And what I know is that when we allow spirit to come through us, that we can be a muse to other people too. That we can be an inspiration to other people, and we can allow spirit to be that muse in us in that way. And I would also like to acknowledge our new practitioners that are here today and our existing practitioners, that they are amazing. They are amusing because they are a muse. And I would just like to dedicate this next song that Astra is going to sing to them. If you could come up. So this is dedicated to our practitioners today.
I didn't write it, but I've been wanting to share this song with you for a while, so today seemed like a great day and a great theme.
Every inch of my body, each fiber and cell is vibrating with the power high on life itself. I'm consciously making space, opening and allowing. I'm doing the work that's needed. I'm ready, bring it in, 'cause I know that I am worthy of it all. The wonders and the magic, all I'm dreaming of. And this is the new way, a new way of living, a world waking up. We are rising in love. Breathing deep, I feel God within and around me. The true light of my being is there for me to see. All is becoming clear. The veil is oh so thin. Everything is changing, and I'm ready, bring it in, 'cause I know that I am worthy of it all. The wonders and the magic, all I'm dreaming of. And this is a new way of living, a world waking up. We are rising in love. And now I remember why I am here. I've got nothing to lose, all is to gain, and I choose to learn from love instead of pain. 'cause I know that I am worthy, worthy of it all. The wonders and the magic, all I'm dreaming of. And this is a new way of living, a world waking up. We are rising in love. I know that I am worthy, worthy of it all. The wonders and the magic, all I'm dreaming of. And this is a new way of living, a world waking up. We are rising in love.
Beautiful. Thank you. And I know our new practitioners, our existing practitioners, all of us are rising in love. What a great affirmation for us today. Thank you. Thank you so much. Now's the time in our service when we invite you to be part of our law of circulation. There are many ways to donate and support our vision and mission, including contributing today, or perhaps you've given online or given previous. Whatever way you choose to support us. And also, if you're a guest today, if you're new, we don't expect you to be part of this, but our continuing members, we appreciate your contributions, your continuing support for it. So let's take our hand over our heart. If the ushers could come forward. And we affirm, divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. And so it is.
Thank you for being my teacher. Thank you for being my guide. Thank you for being the healer, for the one who is mending inside. Thank you. Thank you. I love you for being my teacher. I love you for being my guide. I love you for being the healer, for the one who is mending inside. I love you. Thank you.
That's beautiful. That could be sung to our practitioners as well there. So we'd like to acknowledge people who are here for the first time. So if you're willing to raise your hand and acknowledge, we also acknowledge people in the line who might be here for the first time. But here in person, if you are willing to raise your hand, we have a special gift for you. So if you're willing to raise your hand, we can acknowledge you. Anybody here for the first time? Over here, we have a couple people. Thank you for being with us this morning. We just honor people. And if we happen to miss you, there's Science of Mind magazines available to you. You can pick those up there at our welcome tables. And reminder to sign up for the class if you're going to do that today. And also the reminder that we're going to do the quick turnaround. So we're just going to do our ending song, 5 minutes, but then come right back in for the installation. Don't go too far because we'll start it right away. So we do have a special affirmation for those people who are new today. So we raise our hand and we say, we bless you today, knowing that the peace and happiness you seek is also seeking you. We honor your inner radiance as you let your light shine in the world. We are grateful for your presence in our community. And so it is. It's great. Let's all stand for the congregational affirmation. Repeat after me. Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
I am led by spirit.
I'm led by spirit.
I'm guided by wisdom.
I'm guided by wisdom.
I am protected by love.
I am protected by love.
I am here to be a blessing.
I'm here to be a blessing.
I am so grateful.
I am so grateful.
And so it is.
And so it is.
And now our closing song. Oh, wait, before you do that, what I'd like to do is something, a new tradition with this song, is I'd like us to kind of the front few rows to kind of go to the outside. Let's form a circle to where we're looking at each other. And on the sides, looks towards the middle if possible. And you can move out to the side a little bit. So come on around here. Here, just come on up this way. Come on up this way. Come on, bring more people in. BB, you can come up here. I don't know if we'll all make it into the circle, but okay, I think we're ready for you, Astra.
Love to you, let joy renew you till we meet again. Love me with you. Oh, love me with you. Oh, love me with you. 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 Love me with you.
As you go forward, may love be with you. And so it is. All right. All right, 5 minutes and come on back. Oh, it was me after all. So welcome everybody. I'm so excited by this installation ceremony. This was a this was a manifestation of a lot of work that these practitioners have done. But before I get into about what is a practitioner, I'd like to just begin by opening this up as a official ritual and ceremony. So if it feels comfortable, just drop your gaze. What I know is that Spirit surrounds each of these new practitioners, all of our practitioners. The Spirit has been in the lives and in the deeper connection of these practitioners, and it will continue to be. And it's with us today as we open up this time we have together to honor, install, and celebrate these new practitioners, to honor our existing practitioners, the new emeritus practitioners. The Spirit is in and around all of this. And we're just so grateful for this as we open up this time. We open up this greater experience that we know to be the truth. And for this, we're so grateful. And so it is. So these, to be a practitioner, first of all, what is a practitioner? We call them often prayer practitioners. They go through extensive training, prerequisites, 2 years of classes. And what these classes are is not only to learn some basic skills about listening, being in the presence of someone, allowing them to reveal the higher truth, because it's not, the practitioners aren't the doing part of anything. Often they're called the healing arm, but they're not the healers. What they are is they have learned how to let Spirit come through them as the healing consciousness, the healing energy. And so it is with practitioners. What they do best is just to sit in the presence, knowing their divine being and knowing those who they sit with, their divine being. And what I appreciate about practitioners above all is it doesn't end, it doesn't start at 10:30 on a Sunday morning. It's 24/7 that they live this life. If they're in Trader Joe's or having a flat tire on the side of the road that Georgia and Jim had this morning, the Spirit is there. I'm sure you were praying a lot. The Spirit is present wherever we are and always is. And what I also know about these practitioner students is while they were learning these basic skills, they were allowing their consciousness to grow and develop and evolve. And to listen not only to other people, but to listen to Spirit itself. It's something our existing practitioners continue to do through levels of understanding. So I just honor that in that way. What I have up at this table is their stoles that I'll talk about later. But for now, also, I have the candles that I mentioned this at the beginning of our 10:30 service. These are candles that were given to them at the beginning of this second year practitioner. And on it says, I'm the heart and consciousness of a practitioner. So every time we had a class, they would light this and affirm that as being so. And they might not have believed it at first, but I believe they believe it now because I know it to be true. And the other thing I want to let you know is that I have included 8 candles up here because at the start of the year, we had 8 students. 2 of them, Nicole Turner and Monica Smith-Braun, have decided to wait a year to be fully licensed. But they, too, are the heart and consciousness of a practitioner. So I just want to honor them today also in this way. They won't be installed today, but I just want to honor them right where they are in that way. So as I mentioned, practitioners are considered to be the healing arm of this center, but at times they've been the backbone of the center. They've what has kept it going. And during the pandemic, I got really clear because I was concerned about the vitality of the center. You know, obviously there were months where the doors were shut and we were broadcasting, but I didn't know what this center how it would continue. And one thing I got clear is for it to be a vital center, we need more practitioners. We need an evolution of our practitioner program. So I started teaching classes and started really working on that and really being clear. And so we worked together and we started with 12 and we're working together. And I know there's going to be more practitioners after this as well, that there's going to be more classes that you can take, that if you're interested in that, continue to be that. This center, though, when you think about it, almost 60 years ago, was started by not a minister, a practitioner. Her name was Ruth Wright. In 1961, started a study group. She later went on to become a minister. And over the years, we've had almost 50 practitioners. 4 went on to become ministers. But I tell you, even when we were between ministers, it was the practitioners that kept the center going. There was especially one period right before Reverend Janet Garvey Stanvik came, which the practitioners ran this church because they were going through an interim of ministers. It didn't quite work. They weren't a match. And the ministers came and went during that time. But what stayed the strength of this church was the practitioners. And I know it continues to be the strength of who we are as a center. So thank you, practitioners. Thank you, practitioners, for all that you are and all that you are, everything. Now, I also know these practitioners that have passed into the other realm, and their next expression continue to be our ancestors, including Ruth Wright. When I have events like that, I always, like this, I always think of Lee Crawford and Rhoda Mills. I can't not do that. That they were some of these people that kept the church going during that time that I spoke of before. And they taught classes, they taught practitioners. And also Peggy Lyles, although she's still with us on this planet, she was an instrumental force that kept things moving and taught many of you in Prac 1 that, so I honor her that she's one of our emeritus practitioners as well, but lives several hours away, so it doesn't come all the time. We'll come to certain events that we have. But it's so powerful that when I think of practitioners. So I wanted to take there's a poem that Orion Mountain Dreamer wrote called The Call. And I paraphrased it and kind of adapted it for today. And I want to read it to our new practitioners as well as include our existing practitioners. Let yourself be one of the God-mad, faithful only to the beauty that you are. Let the universe pull you to your feet and invite you to dance, even when fear urges you to sit this one out. Remember, there is only one indivisible unity that is in all of life. You are here to know this with your whole being. You have chosen to give your life to it, to be this oneness in this great poem of love we are writing together. So I know this to be true, that we are writing this poem of love together, and that we've all been writing this poem of love for many years. And we just want to include you in this. This place of honor and privilege, as well as invitation to step more fully into who you are, who you've been called to be. So I invite our practitioner to be installed up to the stage, if you would come forward. Dana Adams, over here. I'm going to pull this out of the way. Sean Boyd, Virginia Gadalauskas, Shauna Marshall, Don Pickney, and Michelle Wilson. So what I know, look at them up there. Aren't they amazing? What I know is each of you do have the heart and soul and consciousness of a practitioner. Jim, could you do me a favor and shut that outside door out there? Or Georgia just did. Thank you, Georgia. Okay, I'll shut this one too. And I know that you're a reflection of love, truth, and abundance. I've also sat with each of you and heard you reveal the truth, not the truth as you make it up, but the truth that is the divine truth, the divine knowingness that comes through each of you, that you recognize the divine and you recognize the greater truth and you speak that truth. I've heard each of you speak this truth so clearly. So I honor each of you in that way. Dana, I honor your contemplative nature and the clarity that you have in all that you are. Sean, your passion and your compassion for life that is so clear. Virginia, your mysticism that comes so naturally to you, and yet your lightheartedness, both light in your heart, but the fun you have, the amusement you have, if you heard my talk today in life. And Shauna, your creativity and your connectedness with life. Don, your powerful consciousness and well-being. And Michelle, the loving and way that you surrender so easily. You just allow it to be. So I honor these traits, and each of them come forth bringing a unique quality to this center. They bring a different thing, and later they'll get a chance to talk about how they want to share that with others. But what I know is that they are connected at a deep level in all they do. So I have some vows that are the official part of the installation here. And because our practitioners are beers and not doers, they will answer the questions with I am rather than I do, like a normal vow would be. So I ask you this question and your answer will be I am. Are you willing to be the consciousness that embraces opportunities to serve this loving and beloved community, and remember that you are divinely sourced in all that you do?
I am.
Are you willing to be the consciousness to live as an example, as one who understands and lives the teachings of the Centers for Spiritual Living, and to be active, loyal, and supporting as defined by the practitioner code of the Centers for Spiritual Living? Are you willing to be the high consciousness that constantly prays for the ministers, the other practitioners, the church, the board of trustees, and the community? Are you willing to be the consciousness that seeks peace and harmony in all situations and to find ways to be nonviolent and healthy in communication with all people? Now I ask the other practitioners and ministers to stand at this time. Everybody stand up. Come on, stand up. Everybody stand up. That's you. And I ask the community, are you willing to be the consciousness that recognize them as prayer partners and practitioners? I am. And then particularly for the practitioners here, are you willing to be the conscious that holds them in high regard as a peer and for the highest and best for them in all times in your prayers? I'm good. You may be seated now. So by the power vested in me by the Centers for Spiritual Living, we now honor and recognize that you are a licensed prayer practitioner at the Napa Valley Center for Spiritual Living with all the rights and privileges that go with such a title. Congratulations. Let's honor them. So what I have for you is two things. One is I'm going to give you your candle to, that I have for you, but also a stole. And let me borrow one of the stoles back here. So the company that makes these stoles made a small error, and I will get you the one that belongs to you later, but this is the one. So this is the one for now until I get the new one. So what they were supposed to make was a stole with the Signs of Mind symbol on both sides, and it was supposed to be a purple lining, not a gold lining.
Would it go with my outfit?
So sorry. I know you were ready for that purple. And let me tell you, so I also have a purple stole, and the reason why I choose this is the stole. They got it mixed up because I ordered some for ministerial graduates, and this is similar to what the ministerial graduates receive, and theirs is all gold. But for practitioner, I like the purple, and this is the reason I like the purple, is because it is the lining which goes closest to them, and it reminds them of the spiritual practice and the divine quality that they are, that is always reflected back to them. And the embossment, the lettering will be gold, and the gold is representative of that which is the alchemy, that what is starting as something heavy like lead, and we transform it into something light, which is gold. So it's the process of the butterfly, the dragonfly transformation, which all of you have done. And that, oh, by the way, did I tell you you're not finished with that transformation yet? We're always evolving, right? So it's just a reminder that we're, and then the white is, of course, we know is the combination of all colors in science, that the prism is divided into all the varieties of colors, but it is the one light is white light. And this is the purity of spirit that we all are in all ways. So it'll be the ones, when you get your regular ones, it will be white and purple and gold will always. But I'd like to honor all of you. Peggy, could you help me for a minute up here? And Dale, maybe too, just to place these on each person. So Dana, here is your stole. Excuse me, let me grab some of these out. And if you can put this on Sean. Oops, background. So I present to you our 6 new practitioners: Dana, Sean, Virginia, Shauna, Don, and Michelle. Let's give them a round of applause. And then I ask you find your own candle there, and you may. And some didn't have names on the bottom of them, so some of them didn't. So, all right, thank you very much, and you can be seated. Hang on just a minute. So now we move to the second part of this ceremony, which is to welcome and honor our practitioners who have been practitioners for now 20 plus years. And it's an honor that We have many practitioners that go on to do different things, and we honor them, but it's a commitment that they have been deeply held by just years and a heart of service, both of you. I want to say that there are many different paths to self-discovery and revelation of spirit in you. And for me, I have a special place in my heart for people that service is their number one path, because I think it's one that opens up your heart in a deeper way, that it is one thing that makes a difference in the way that service happens, because you not only are doing it for yourself, but you're doing it for everybody else. And I appreciate both of the ways that you have served in many ways. So Janet and Diana, if you could both, actually, before you come up here, let me just, I think there are two things we'll do. And then you have the script, you can read that one? Okay, because I can pull one out over there. I forgot to do that. Okay, all right. Do you need a podium? A microphone. Okay. Let me read this first. So,
I'll take whatever.
okay. So the first thing I have to read is dedicated to both of you. It's from Ernest Holmes. Many years ago, when he was still alive, he was at Asilomar, which was an annual retreat that Centers for Spiritual Living went to. And he gave a talk in Merrill Hall, which is this large hall where about 500 people are able to seat. And he gave a talk called The Sermon by the Sea. And literally it was the sermon, and it was by the sea because the ocean's right there. So I've taken some of that I think applies to our two new emeritus practitioners. It'd be wonderful indeed if a group of persons should arrive on earth who were for something and against nothing, who is redeemed enough not to condemn others out of the burden of their soul, who no longer has any fear of the universe or of God or of people or of anything else, who can get out of their own littleness and shall reveal to me the immeasurable magnitude of the universe in which we live. We know how to talk to God, who know how to talk to God, really. And we shall walk with them through the woods, and everything that seems inanimate will respond. The leaves of the trees will clap their hands, and the grass will grow soft under them. How important it is that each of us, in our own simple way, shall live from God to God, with God, in God, and to each other. This is why we are here, and why we are taking back with us, I trust, a vision and an inspiration, something beyond a hope and a longing, that the living Spirit shall, through us, walk anew into its own creation, and a new glory come in a new dawn. Then he said, find me 1,000 people who know what science of mind is, and use it, and live as it is, and we will live to see a new world, a new heaven, and a new earth. What I know about these two practitioners and all our practitioners is, at this center, we found 1,000 people who are living the science of mind. And that is spread, even the people who have been here for a short period of time, it's spread to 10,000s of people. And Centers for Spiritual Living has spread to hundreds of thousands of people and millions of people. We are making a difference, and it starts with one heart of service that both Janet and Diana have demonstrated in so many ways. So thank you for your service to our community. And now I'm going to invite Dale up to read a little bit about their service here.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. It's so nice to see all of you here to celebrate us practitioners. We love you and we're here for you always. And I would like to honor my two beloved friends because you cannot serve together for more than 20 years and not love one another and care for one another. So I'm going to start with Janet Champion. She started at Mile High Church in Lakewood, Colorado from 1993 until 1997. She grew up in Napa and moved back here in November of 1997 and made this her home. Ironically, that was the same month that Reverend Janet Garvey Stangvik became our senior minister, and she continued to take classes and became a practitioner. Okay, that is better. I'm trying to read and okay. But Janet volunteered by helping in the office. She put together programs. She answered the telephone. She helped with garden cleanup, pulled weeds, trimmed shrubbery. She also worked in the bookstore and helped count the money from the Sunday collection. She drove congregants back and forth who didn't have a ride to volunteer and come to church and attend services. And as a practitioner, she assisted in teaching classes. She led book studies of prayer by praying after the service with congregants, and she joined other practitioners in prayer for over 20 years. Janet's consciousness, compassion, and commitment have made a difference in the life of this center and in the life of so many people. Thank you, Janet. We love you. And here comes Diana. Diana had a long search to find a spiritual home. She was raised Catholic, then converted to Judaism in 1967, and then back to Catholicism. When she first attended our Center for Spiritual Living in 2000, she cried during the first 2 months during services because she felt so comfortable here. She had found a family of like-minded people who felt spiritually the way she had always felt in her heart since she was a small child. Reverend Janet Garvey Stangvik was her first minister, and we were meeting on Clinton Street at the time. And she immediately signed up for classes, not to become a practitioner, but because she was hungry to learn all about the loving teachings of Ernest Holmes. Like so many practitioners will tell you, she soon found herself becoming a practicing practitioner. A lot of us urged by Reverend Janet. We were nudged along the way. Our community has been a grateful recipient of Diana's artistic talents and Janet's too here. She is quick to say that using her gifts and talents brought her great meaning and joy to her life as well. And she also brought her late beloved husband, Lorenzo, to our center. He never thought he would attend a church, and he became our church guy. Together and individually, they have done amazing work here, and we owe them a great deal of debt. I have a little bit more on this side. Okay, here's that. When we purchased this property, Diana helped renovate the sanctuary, and along with Janet too, in the offices, painting, making curtains, creating a canvas sign that is still used today. You can see that on the front of the center. She created storage in the attic and the shed. She helped design and create the original garden and layout design, which lasted for 2 decades. She painted the courtyard. She and Lorenzo did that too. And she also designed sets and decor for special events. While a practitioner, she led meditations. She taught just about all of the Science of Mind classes, sometimes more than once, acted as host for Sunday, and even delivered several of the talks. She simplified the Science of Mind basic class into a 2-hour introduction workshop. She has also been instrumental in the needs of our candlelight services, purchasing linens, designing the sand trays, giving many of the candlelight talks. She has performed numerous memorial services and house blessings. Diana has been a faithful tither and a relentless prayer practitioner, attending most of our Tuesday morning prayer meetings, and has been available for prayer after service for over 20 years. Her heart creativity and passion have made a difference here and in the hearts of hundreds of people. Thank you, Diana, for your service, and we love you.
If I could have you both stand up here, come on up to the stage.
We're not making us stand up for the
That's what I was thinking. And I will order the pins that you have will say Emeritus on it or on order. And so we'll get that for you, 20-year pins. But I think what I would like to make sure that people know is that when I've been here 9 years this summer, so Reverend Janet was amazing to allow this dance to come forth that allowed me to feel accepted by this community, because basically I had the blessing of Reverend Janet. But I also know when I was I had been a minister, but not, it was the first time as a senior minister here. And I came in thinking I had to do certain things, but I quickly found that I could just lean into the consciousness that was already here. And that was set by the practitioners, that they were you have always been the constancy of this center. And I acknowledge both of you for being this. And Janet, your steadfastness, your clarity in all things that you do. And Diana, your creativity and the power in your teaching and your presence. Both of you have been a source of to apply today's message, you've been a muse to me, to inspire me, to remind me of what's important about this center. It's not the bells and whistles, but it's the consciousness that we teach here and the consciousness that we are here. So thank you both for being this wonderful muse for me and for all people, and an inspiration, knowing the truth in all ways. So thank you. Let's all give them a round of applause. Do you want to add anything? Do you want to say anything?
No, I think we want to stand.
Okay.
I just want to say thank you all, and for all of those who have given me the privilege to pray for you. Thank you. And thank you, Reverend Jack.
Thank you. My heart is full, because the truth I know that this community is better because of you and because of you. It gives us this energy of continuing evolution, a reminder. And I learned, it took me a couple of years to figure this out, but Reverend Janet, I had a couple calls with her going, I can't get people to sign up for a practitioner class. She goes, you got to go get them, make them go in there. So that's what I learned. Just tell them, just keep taking the classes. You'll be okay. Don't worry about it. So by the way, I finished this class. I'm out hunting again for more practitioners. So blessings to all of you and to this community. And what I know in truth is that we are a living spiritual center, that Spirit through us is doing great work. And we're grateful for these practitioners, and we're grateful for all people here who are willing to listen to Spirit's impulses, inspiration, being through us as us, and making a difference in the world. And so it is. So please join us for the reception. I'm going to invite the new practitioners to walk first and be outside, and the two new emeritus practitioners, so that you can greet them on your way out. And Mary has some sort of announcement. Okay. So practitioners, hold on to them. Don't let them go too fast. So we have lots of food, by the way. We have coffee. We have cute little carrot cupcakes that are out there, all celebrating our wonderful practitioners. So thank you for being here and being a witness to this. Many blessings, everybody.